Hello and good evening. I'm Steve Eager, first on Fox 4 News at 5:30 tonight. Prosecutors say the man who murdered the Kaufman County DA, his wife, and his top assistant admitted to it in a tip to Crime Stoppers. That tip was posted anonymously the day after Mike McClellan and his wife Cynthia were found murdered in their home. The tipster said, quote, "Do we have your full attention now?" and demanded a response from the county judge. In a follow-up post, the anonymous tipster said, "Your act of good faith will result in no other attacks this week." Today in court, prosecutors described how they traced that tip back to the suspect, Eric Williams. They also showed evidence of guns and explosives seized from the suspect's storage unit, including AR-15 rifles, the type of gun believed to be used to murder the DA and his wife. One key witness today was a Texas State Guardsman who served with Williams and was contacted by Williams, he says, about how to dispose of an AR-15's upper. That's the part of the rifle that can be tested for ballistics evidence.
If I remember correctly, he said, if I had an upper, could you, if I gave it to you, would you just never make, or make sure it never sees the light of day? Something to that effect.
Make it disappear.
Make it disappear.
The upper includes the barrel of an AR-15, so that's why it has ballistics evidence. Scott Hunt told authorities about his conversation with Eric Williams months later when he saw news coverage of police searching Williams' home. Among the weapons that were found inside Williams' storage garage unit was an AR-15 that was missing its upper body, or the portion that has the barrel on it. Brandon Birmingham joins us again live on Fox 4 News at 5:30. Now, he was a longtime felony prosecutor, will soon be sworn in as a criminal district judge. He is familiar with death penalty cases and prosecuting them in general. So let's start with that Crime Stoppers tip. They had said they have an airtight case, prosecutors have. They found a receipt that he had written down like a crime. I don't know how that works, but there's kind of a code you get when you leave a Crime Stoppers tip.
That's exactly right, Steve. So when you leave a tip, there is a code that is generated that's unique to that tip and to that user.
And so if you want to follow up and add more information, you write down that code and you can do that.
That's exactly right. So even a person who leaves a tip anonymously, that tip is they generate a number that goes along with it. And during the search of Eric Williams' house, the investigators found a tax receipt, and written on the tax receipt was just a bunch of gibberish. But there was also the name of a website. Well, investigators knew by going to that website, and they knew that that was a Crime Stoppers tip, and that gibberish was really a code for that particular tip. They were able to piece together what has become a very important piece of evidence, obviously, for this entire trial.
So he broke it into a code for himself, but I mean, he has, well, I'm not to convict him, but allegedly went to a lot of work, but not always covering the tracks by leaving the receipt lying around. They talked about this upper that was missing, and Mr. Hunt testified about being contacted. First, as a prosecutor, I want to, if this person is allegedly as smart as he has been, why not just throw that away?
Well,
why contact somebody? Is there some reason where you would do that instead of just pitch it in a lake?
Sure. Well, and maybe that's eventually exactly what he did. And certainly there's been some hinting around that some evidence was disposed of in a lake. But I think the idea that he was going to somebody that he confided in, somebody that he knew was an expert in firearms technology, and asking, how do you break this very complicated weapon down to get rid of the only piece that can be linked to different ballistics, shows you what prosecutors would call a guilty conscience. In other words, it shows that he's got a plan in mind. He's trying to dispose of the evidence before he's even acted out on his plan.
This Hunt, powerful testimony today?
Very powerful testimony. Mr. Hunt today, and there was another friend yesterday that helped Eric Williams unknowingly rent the storage unit. Yeah. Absolutely right. Both of them, I think you could see on their faces, felt somewhat betrayed by them because they were taken in by him and used to a certain extent.
I'm still not clear on why you approach somebody in either case like that, how that would possibly help. But anyway, we may see. Okay, Williams' wife, the estranged wife, Kim.
Yes.
She's been labeled maybe the key witness potentially. You're prosecuting this case. We talk about not wanting to articulate a deal being made because that damages the prosecution. If you have some sort of agreement, not an agreement, but They understand, you understand, we may give you a break if you testify for us. Is there a point at which you say, you know, we've got a good case, we don't need that testimony, and we want to go after her just as hard as we went after him? Do you make those kind of decisions during a case?
You do, certainly. As the case progressed, I would imagine that if a witness has helped to take the investigation in a certain direction, they might be able to get some credit for that. Okay. During the trial, as the trial goes forward, maybe there's a point in the trial where you realize something's happened, something's gone wrong, you need the witness. Or maybe there comes a point in the trial where you say, you know what, I'm doing just fine with what I've got, we're going to go forward and not even worry about calling this other witness.
But there is one piece of evidence that they don't have without her.
That's right.
And that's an eyewitness, if that's what she's prepared to testify about, saying, I saw him do this.
Now, as far as I've heard today, and as far as I heard yesterday in opening statements and any other point during this trial, there hasn't been anything where they said, I saw Eric Williams shoot this person.
And that would be more valuable than either
Sure.
receipts and anything like that?
It certainly could be, yeah.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Randall.
Thank you.
We'll see you tonight at 9, right?
Yes, sir. I'll
okay.
be back.
All right, good news. Thank you very much.